Memetics. What is memetics? How does a new meme get into a mind? A fundamentally new meme. A meme is like a named pattern. A meme has a mapping between the name of it, some sort of neural representation which is activated when it is observed in the world, and something in the real world which is being mapped or modeled. So a meme is a subunit of information that can take root in the mind of a being. Your neocortex is like a great field. It is where thought trees are planted in. It's where structures of ideation grow and interconnect with each other. Usually this happens through something called Hebbs' law, which is basically that what fires together wires together. If you have a thought that is containing different semantic parts and they're activated at the same time, it's more likely in the future that those cortical structures will be further connected in the future. Okay, so how do you get a new meme into the mind? In the left brain, you have the language center, and the language center has a large vocabulary that maps to cortical structures. So you can learn a new meme by constructing from other memes and then naming that large body of information and then just integrating it into the brain. What we have is basically an essay, a thesis. You read the thesis, you label it with a term, and this is actually a very difficult way to acquire knowledge because you're acquiring on the vocabulary of another person. If you don't have the same vocabulary and the same meaning behind the words, it's going to be hard to reconstruct that meaning. So instead, the other way to get new memes into the mind is to ideate them yourselves, is to synthesize them yourself. Now, I could write a manifesto about cognitism. I could go on for days and days and days explaining it. It will not vibe as much as if somebody simply thinks about prediction markets, large language models, and cryptography at the same time, and then gets an idea. Whatever sense of inspiration that they have in the moment, that is a connecting of those cortical structures that it creates a pathway through which they can flow down, and it will guide and structure their behavior. This is the whole neural manifold stuff that Matt Verkowski talks about. Now, I think about it in terms of cortical structures, and he thinks about it in terms of the actual activations and the mathematical patterns and the topology of the connection of all the neurons within that space. And I reduce it to a much smaller and simpler level of a resolution of complexity to be able to explain it to myself, but he's a lot more precise. Okay, so why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because there is a particular type of magic with a K, magic with a K being a particular type of manipulative memetics that big boy Trump did on the people, that Elon Musk met him in 2016 when he was called to the office after the election. He studied him and he was the only person to learn what Trump did. Then Elon applied those techniques over the 6 years to achieve the exact same effect. And it's like, nobody gets it. Nobody understands how he did it, but I get it. And I'm like,
it's the equations that are about partitioning internal from external states.
I don't want to be another other. Another tribe that makes you feel free.
It's the equations that are about partitioning internal from external states.
I just wanna find our brain.
It's the equations that are about partitioning internal from external states.
Bagel.
What does the cover of the active inference textbook mean?
It's like the Lord of the Rings reference, except like instead of the inscription, there's math.
Yes, there's the Lord of the Rings reference, and also it's a blanket, and it's a particle, and that's the equations that are about partitioning internal from external states.
Bagel.
please, my friends, lovers, countrymen, I'm trying to tell you what he's doing. Memes exist in relation to other memes. This is Jordan Hall. This is Forrest. This is relationality. This is where they're talking about and so obsessed about relationality. I'm like, you know what has relationality? Patterns of fucking neurons. clusters of neurons. And then you go to Matt Prokowski, he's like, these fractal self-affine representations. It's like, yeah, you have structures of neurons where like the sub-patterns seem to repeat themselves in interesting ways. They manifest behavior when information flows through those systems. So your thought basically comes through you flowing through these systems, and most of your thoughts are related to that. What if you wanted to get a thought into another person's brain against their will? How could you get that meme in there? And then what would happen once it's already in there? This is the great magic of what Trump did, the great magic of what Elon did. So Elon has a goal in his brain. There's a topological structure that says, get to Mars. I'm going to be the one who puts people on Mars. I'm the Mars man. I'm going to save humanity. It's not actually based on first principles thinking. It's not really like the best solution to save humanity. It's the fact that he read science fiction as a kid and somehow it took root in his mind. And then he became the person who wanted to do that. And everything links back to that. And then in 2018, what happened was he was threatened to be kicked out of his companies. They were going to take his power. He almost lost all of his power. He almost lost all of his power in 2018. Please listen to this again. He almost lost all of his power in 2018 because Tesla was not a profitable company. Okay? So what happened is profit became a new first principle in his mind. He realized finally that he can't just pursue social good, which is what he wanted to do. He wanted to save the world. He was always thinking about the world in terms of social good. And so he adopted a new first principle. What was the new first principle? You always have to make profit first. Profit, market, meme, that before all else became his God. Because that which is your first principles, that which is at the root of yourself, that which is at the core center of your being, guides the flow of your thought. So, in 2018, what did Elon do? He realized he was losing his power. He realized he had to get his power back, and he had to get a lot of it. And he observed Donald Trump, and he observed how Donald Trump rapidly accrued power. He also made the correct realization that people like money, and that if his companies were extremely profitable, nobody would really be able to stop him, and he would be able to do whatever he wants. Which at the time sounded great to him, because at the time, his neural structure was different. So the types of thoughts that he was having. So he sat in 2018 with all of these good intentions about how he would change the world and make it better. And in fact, that is still where he thinks he's operating from. And that's why you guys still think that he's a good person and doing good things. Because technically, there is part of the first principle that still links back to it. But the problem is that he deeply linked this notion of profit. And that comes with it a whole meme set which guides and flows natural behavior. That relates to power being an accruable thing, that if you just collect enough of it, then you can control all other people. And if you control all the people, if you wear the ring of power, then you have influence over all the things that happen. If only we could have the one true ring and influence everybody with our own personal vision. Circle, motherfuckers.
Bagel.
Okay, so the circle is a meme. The circle represents kind of what Elon is doing with his own name and what Trump is doing with his own brain. But the circle is an anti-memetic. It's like it's a vaccine to intentional manipulation by other in your mind, because it's teaching you about the ideas behind the way the brain structures itself using thermodynamic flows and how your behavior will often be shaped by these underlying structures. And it's really hard to push back against these underlying structures. And if you know a theory of memetics and you understand memetics well, you can actually push the meme into people, and then it can kind of predictively affect their behavior, but also unpredictably so. You think you know what's going to happen in that person's brain, And then all this other crazy stuff happens because you don't really understand memetics. You understand the very basic nature of it. What does Trump do? Trump has a meme. He always says the word Trump. He always relates back to the word Trump. He even talks about it in third person. It was not invented by him. It was invented by, I believe, his grandfather or something that used to be named Drumps, and they took the name and it had an intrinsic meaning in it. So when the word Trump was activated in the other person's brain, the notion of being trumped by another person was activated. From that point on, there was an intense, almost century-long reinforcement of what the Trump meme means. And it's pretty self-referential, just like the Elon meme is self-referential. It says, listen to me, I'm the most important person. Give me all the power because I know, and I'm going to make everything better. The question is whether there's any accountability in reality to those statements, and there's not. So how do you get a meme into another person's mind? You start by agreeing with them. Do you notice that I don't do that? You notice that I'm not connecting with a lot of people. It's because I don't just tell you what you want to hear. I don't just give you the sugar water. I give you water and I say, please drink a glass of water. You need to have a glass of water. It's not going to be sugary. It's not going to be like sold to you. It's just water. Just drink the fucking water. Everybody else is giving you snake oil. It's literally just water. And by trying it, we establish a relationship of trust, right? Because I'm telling you the truth that it's water, but you don't think it's water because you're a horse.
For the last time, I'm pretty sure what's killing the crops is this Brondo stuff.
The Brondo's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes.
So wait a minute. What you're saying is that you want us to put water on the crops?
Yes.
Water? Like out the toilet?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be out of the toilet, but yeah, that's the idea.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Okay, look. The plants aren't growing, so I'm pretty sure that the Brondo's not working. Now, I'm no botanist, but I do know that if you put water on plants, they grow.
Well, I've never seen no plants grow out of no toilet.
Hey, that's good. You sure you ain't the smartest guy in the world?
Yeah.
So let's go back.
Okay, look, you want to solve this problem. I want to get my pardon, so why don't we just try it, okay? And not worry about what plants crave.
Brondo's got what plants crave.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
What are electrolytes? Do you even know?
It's what they use to make Brondo.
Yeah, but why did they use them to make Brondo?
Because Brondo's got electrolytes.
You're a horse being led to water. You don't know me. Or maybe you do a little bit. The point is, like, how can you trust me? How can you trust me? I'm passionate, I'm angry, I'm weird, I don't have power. Okay, how do you trust other people? Well, if they agree with you, I'm pausing for a second for you to think about it, because you'll notice if you go into many interviews with Trump, when he first meets people, the first thing he does is he just agrees with them, whether or not it actually aligns with their his vision at all or what he wants, because he knows they're going to forget. It's not about the truth. It's not about logic. It's about getting the meme planted in the field of your mind. It is getting it into the soils, because once it's in the soil, attention waters it. And then all you have to do is get that attention flowing over that structure. And when attention flows over a meme, it grows and becomes more connected with the rest of the brain. So all you have to do is plant the seed with your finger right into their fucking brain.
Go plant that seed, man. Plant it with your finger.
And this is something that you do usually through manipulation in this society, usually through advertisement, or just through like grift or just kindness that is not true. You're just like trying to say whatever you can to lower their guard. And then once you have that resonance, once they're vibing with you, once they're in a tensional relationship with you, like a fucking orbiting body, like a planet orbiting around a star, then that sub-agent, that sub-being is always going to attend to you. It's always going to tune into you. And it's going to give its energy to you. Because this isn't a meme that's an abstract thing. This is a meme that's a name. Elon. It's Trump. But what is Trump tied to conceptually to these people? What is Elon conceptually tied to you? What does he mean to you? Why do you spend so much physical energy defending the man? Why do you spend so much thermodynamic energy defending a person who has so much power that you have no influence over, who you have no control over or have never met? Why? And so I'm trying to tell you with love and compassion that you are being manipulated and that he knows he's manipulating you, and it is loosely correlated with social good. But the second that he added in the pursuit of profit before that, and the whole meme set that guides that, you noticed that his behavior and outward empathy changed dramatically. In fact, it dramatically restructured his brain just by allowing into the center of himself the profit meme, and also by taking unto himself the techniques that Trump used, and basically this mentality of the ends justify the means, because in his mind, the world is going to crash, and the only way to save it is by getting them to Mars. Lots of people disagree with that. Lots of people don't agree that is a reasonable future, but because he's used memetics, he's gotten all these people with his hooks into them, memetic hooks, and therefore they actively ideate and use their own cognition to help him. But I'm saying we should have our cognition be our own. We shouldn't always be sold and have our attention stolen from us. It should be devoted locally to things that can make our lives better. We're so focused on the global that we can't just like look around our neighborhood, see what is dysfunctional, and take the action. We're always looking to daddy to save us, because that's what happens when you have these systems that can concentrate and accrue power into hands just by accumulating. That's what you have when you only have an exchange token as your means of mediating power. There are all of these advertisement systems and other things like governments to try to check the market, but it's very clear that the market only partially correlates with social well-being, and that it only does that when you have these functional systems regulating it. And we're reaching a point with technology where we don't really know how to regulate it anymore. And essentially the money meme has mutated, and we're getting more and more and more and more into tokenizing memes and just like planting them into brains and saying like, this meme will make you rich. This meme will solve everything for you. This token that you get will airdrop you this shit. It is all about this parceling into little buckets, into little tiny things that you can own and sell. And that is a very left brain type of thing. Okay. The right brain doesn't think that way, and the right brain is actively suppressed. The right brain thinks in terms of wholes, in terms of all things. It is not about dividing it into little parts, but both parts of our conception are important. It is important to divide using language to understand things better. But then you also have to reunite. I don't have a good metaphor how you do this, but literally reuniting is like taking psychedelics or increasing the activation so there's connection between all parts of the brain at the same time. You're creating one activation, so you're creating one meta meme, and then you're like, what do I name this meme? You're like, God! It's like, what is that, like some sort of grand organizing design or some shit? So anyways, memes are the names that we give to neural cortical structures that activate. The more that they activate, the more intense they feel, the more inspired they feel, the more important they feel, the more of our brains that they cause to fire off, the more intense it feels. And so you have two brilliant people, and I'm telling Trump brilliant because he used the technique to get so many people, and now Elon studied it, and he's getting smart people to do the same thing, walk down the same path. Like, isn't that crazy? We just saw it happen. We just saw this happen. It was a big problem. We saw this happen already, and it's happening again. I understand why you think Elon is a good person. I get it. And I truly believe that he started there. But I also understand memetics. I understand where he's operating from. I also understand the feedback signals that he's getting over time. And so I can see where this is playing out. And I know that as he gets older and he has not achieved his root meme, which is getting to Mars, he'll get more and more desperate, and he'll be more and more manipulative using the power that he has accrued. And that's going to be a problem, because I don't really personally see anything about landing on Mars as being something that preserves humanity. There's nothing on Mars to extract. Capitalism only functions when you have an ecosystem that is self-sufficient, thermodynamically sufficient, that you can extract from. And if you over-extract from it, it dies. It becomes a sacrifice zone. And then capitalism can't function in that system. Mars is a system like that. Mars can't function on capitalism because Mars does not have resources to extract. If you put people on that planet, it just becomes like bound to Earth for its resources. So we need to find systems and create systems that can actually, not just be driven by profit and extraction if we want to expand beyond the boundaries of the Earth. Elon doesn't really get this. He's operating off of just get there and everything else connects to that. How do I get there? Money, power. Everything else becomes secondary. Everything that he says is related to that. Now, again, I get that you think that is a person being good, but I'm telling you the linkage of the profit meme to his incentive is what can explain every single thing about his behavior from 2018. In 2018, what happened is he was going to lose his power, so he was forced to make profit for his companies. And his behavior changed because he took the profit meme into the center of his cortical structures. And that, my friends, is memetics. So what is it that Elon is doing that is so agreeable, that is making people bind with him without consideration to what the meme actually means? Well, did you notice he started doing a lot of stupid meme stuff online, like 69, Dogecoin, just kind of resonating with the basic dumb will of the people? Did you notice that his cognition changed? The type of memes that seemed to flow through his mind and the types of things that he said started to change. So there must have been some sort of theory in his mind behind why he was doing that, or he's an idiot and is getting infected by memes. One or the two, depending on who you are and how you see him. I see him as an intelligent man, so I don't view these reflections of memes that are at the heart of the collective mind space as being innocent. They're very, very, very calculated. He's just saying, I agree with you on something very, very basic. And once you resonate or once you vibe, then your brain subconsciously allows the meme into your neocortex, and it gets encoded as something that is not dangerous, not something that you have to fight for. And so what happens is that every time that the person attends to the outwards pattern that the meme represents, whether it be Trump or whether it be Elon, that it is reinforced. That by flowing through that structure, it actually grows more, and it grows more and more and more interconnected. We saw this with Trump. And then this all connects back to the free energy principle and all of the work with active inference and this idea of predictive coding, meaning that the brain does not want to expend energy rewiring a bunch of things. Once the Elon meme is in there, once the Trump meme is in there, once it's already guiding the flow of your thoughts and affecting your cognition, then your brain views it as part of itself, because it is. It's literally grown into the structure of your neocortex, and to remove it would be to waste a lot of energy. So the brain is not really consciously allocating energy. It's doing so based off of physics in a lot of different ways. And so what we see is over time, people refuse to reject the meme, no matter how much evidence has come up to show them that the meme is actually harming them. We saw this over and over and over and over and over and over and over with Trump. We're going to see it over and over and over again with Elon, because the structure is deeply, deeply embedded and connected into the sense of self. You know, when he's repeating all of these things that are very, very basic into the heart of the global egregore, like just very simple things like dumb memes, or resonating with people in the conservative community, because he has this awareness that the conservative community does seem to be particularly affected by these techniques. It's very all predictable and understandable, and all really makes sense about what he is doing. So Elon, what is Elon doing? He's just getting the meme in the mind. And once the meme is in the mind, then he knows in the future he doesn't really need to make a logical argument to people. In fact, he already has a large collection of people ideating for him, thinking for him, defending him for him. That's the beauty of it, is that that's what Trump did, is that he got to this point where people started collectively ideating and making excuses for him that were plausible. He used the collective brain to make excuses for every bad thing that he did. And Elon is just nudging closer and closer and closer in that direction, and it's clear that he really wants that type of influence to be able to just get what he wants and not have to explain it to people. Which means that he has some grand plan inside of his mind that he thinks is ultimately true, but he doesn't have to share it with anybody. It doesn't have to be reviewed by anybody. In fact, we're all too dumb to know it, and he gets to manipulate us into being his willful pawns, right? That's why I push back against this dude. I know you have all your theories about the guy. You might even aspire to be him. And maybe even like the fact that he's using memetics to manipulate people, and you're thinking, I'll try that. Please don't. I'm telling you, this is a bad thing. I'm telling you that the way that we interrelate as a society is not healthy, and I'm coming to you out of a place of honesty, seeking your trust, seeking an engagement between you. You are a person on the other end of the screen. You're sitting, you have worries, hopes, dreams, and I'm saying, hey, the world seems kind of scary. There's kind of a scary future, and I think that I can help you by giving you tools. But those tools might kind of show you that you are being manipulated, or show you things that hurt at first. When you reveal the rose-covered glasses, when you just reveal the haze over your eyes, it might hurt at first. And when something hurts, we try to hide from it. And that's what makes it so difficult to acknowledge the very structure and foundation of the problem facing us. And again, we do not have to get rid of money entirely. It is, it seems to do certain things well. But I'm saying that the means by which we sell things, which is this advertisement, which is this much more complex layer, has been so hacked and over-optimized that we no longer know how to even listen to each other. It's just constant memetic hooks at each other all the time. And what it looks like is an ad page on the internet. It's overwhelming. So yeah, Elon, what he is doing is he starts by basically agreeing via dumb memes. He's resonating on memes that are very, very simple. Once he resonates, he has the hooks. Once he has the hooks in the brains do the thinking and defending for him. Once he does that, he can do more, and he has from the bottom up power. If you watch the rules for rulers, you know that
take the throne to act, and the throne acts upon you. Accept that, or turn back now before we discuss the rules for rulers.
If you watch the rules for rulers, you know that there is both the power of the people who are directly connected to him, and there's power in America, which is supposed to come from the Democratic electorate. So that's all of just the people. So the more minds that you can collect to support you from the bottom through these manipulative tactics of memetics, the more you don't need to deal with the other smart people around you who also have power and money. People find it difficult to fight Elon now. Very rich people, they do not have the same level of power, and that's why he bought Twitter, so that he can influence the conversation, so he can control the way people are thinking about the world. And there also is in him a part that is doing it for the free speech thing. I mean that. But I don't think that human brains are all completely integrated or unified. I don't view him as an integrated brain. I view him as a person with inconsistencies that he feels like he must hold to be able to achieve his goals. So he's not really seeing himself. And that's why you've seen a degradation of his mental health and his physical health in terms of he's gained weight. He just doesn't seem as well. Since he's created and forced this new first principle into his mind and tried to change the way that he's relating with the world to ultimately wear the ring, to get the most power that he possibly can, to have influence over the minds of men, to be able to enact his vision, which is just going to Mars.
One ring
to rule them all. One ring to find them. One ring to bring them all. And in the darkness, bind them.
Bagel.
That is the nature of our consciousness, is the idea that there's this one self that rules the body. And that self wants to extend as far as it possibly can. It wants to hold the whole body and then more. Capitalism interrelates with the self in the way that it makes the self want to expand its reaches beyond its physical matter.
One ring to rule them all. One ring to find them. One ring to bring them all. And in the darkness, bind them.
Okay, so to answer the question directly, how do you get a new meme into another person's brain? The answer is simple. You copy a fake version of the meme that's not the true thing, because it is the name, it is the identifier, which is the most important thing within the society that we live in. The language center has taken on so much power in the brain that if you just activate the right words in the right way and get the meme to grow in there, it becomes an index in your lookup table, then you can build upon that over time. And so that's what a lot of these snake oil salesmen are doing, is that they're starting by just getting the meme in the mind. It's like a named placebo pill, but the pill is inherently bound to the person. It's not necessarily bound to the idea. And when it's just bound to the idea, then we get this sort of religions that continue on post-life. That's when we have gods that become basically, you know, they're like selves. They take on similar characteristics to selves, and that they have like images that we imagine them in. We imagine them as being corporeal, and they seem to exist in the memetic space beyond our lifespan. So essentially, you know, what you have is Trump and Elon abusing this technique to be able to get a version of the meme that they know is acceptable to the mind, because they know that the true version of the meme will not resonate with the mind. That's the most important thing, is that you are actively not telling the truth so that you can get the meme into the mind, so that in the future, when you tell them the real truth, they are more willing to accept it. It's all about just drawing attention and binding attention and trust to that symbol. Now, cognitism is about saying that the idea of just binding trust to symbols is broken. It won't work.
Bagel.
It's not, you know, you need something more complex, like more complex epistemic tech to be able to make sense of the world at the scale when you have so much information, you have so much complexity, and you have so many people talking all at the same time. So the reason why I don't sugarcoat a lot of things for people, or hold your hand, or try to be kind and sweet, or try to form a company, is because I'm always thinking about these theories, and I understand minds across time. I think a lot of people think about implementing ideas and they think about themselves as these fixed beings. I do not think that way. I think that when you take the journey changes you. Like the hero's journey of forming a company is what has become the primary life path that interests most people in society.
Take the throne to act, and the throne acts upon you.
And I'm saying that maybe there are other hero's journeys for humanity that we can take that are beyond just getting a job and living that same job. Maybe we can have more unique and interesting lives in the society that we are existing in. But we have to understand memetics, and we have to understand how to not be manipulated by memetics. And we have to understand that there are a very small number of people who formed this version of memetics that they can use to manipulate you. And it works very, very well. And in 2017, when I discovered it, I applied it for 3 weeks. It works. It works. It works. And it made me feel disgusting. I felt like I was talking to cognitism about people, and they had never listened to me before. And suddenly they started listening to me, and they're like, yeah, that makes sense. Of course. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. Like, it was this disgusting realization that, like, most people don't really know how their thoughts are guided at all. And it's actually very easy to manipulate people. And I just didn't like the feeling of that switch, it felt like too intense of a difference between the way that I was interrelating and the effects that I was getting. I was like, I'm saying the same thing. The truth should be what matters, not the packaging. If the packaging is the only thing that affects your interpretation of the truth, we have a problem. Because that means the only thing that people are attending to is the packaging and not the message. We have become a society of peacocking messages, where the only thing that matters about it is the color, is the excitedness, and is not the actual message that is at the core of the thing being communicated, right? And so, like, I stepped away from it. It was really, really scary, and I have never really engaged with that type of influence in the same way since, because I find it to be extremely dangerous, and I much prefer to just be honest with you and always tell you the truth and really draw your attention to when the manipulation is being done, and also parody it if I ever do it. Like, you'll notice in my recent videos, like, I'm doing the like happy music to try to like show you like how much it binds your attention and how that's sort of problematic. And when I look at the the stats of the video, that part of the video is rewatched more than 100%. I mean, people went back to watch it because it was so intriguing, but I'm not saying anything there, okay? And so this is what I'm trying to draw your attention to, is that we're not really communicating in a way that is exchanging truth. We're communicating in a way that is really about the medium. It's like almost all of the meaning is in the medium, but, the message actually gets lost. And so, like, we start with a meme and we start to put it into the world, and then in the relationship between pushing a meme outwards and the reaction we get from people, it changes the meme over time. So if you see me being extremely fucking stubborn about wanting to work with people, it's because I know these loops. And until I can find people who understand these theories, then the same patterns are going to play out with them if I work with them. It's very clear to me that if they do not understand these theories, exactly what is going to, I say is going to happen, is going to happen. Because over the last 5 years, I keep making all these predictions based off these theories, and they keep coming true. And so I don't want to hoard that knowledge. I love you. I love humanity as a concept, and I would like you to be free. I think that's a pretty nice thing to want for you. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm not trying to harm you. I'm trying to help you. It's like fucking Gandalf.
Do not take me for some conjurer of cheap tricks. I am not trying to rob you. I'm trying to help you.
Okay? When I try to say, take the ring from you, like as a metaphor, when I try to say, maybe there's something wrong with money, maybe there's something with this undue amount of power, and it makes you react. When I try to take the meme of the ring, just being any meme that you believe in, that guides the flow of your behavior, I try to take it from you, and you react like Bilbo.
Bagel.
In an envelope over there on the mantelpiece. No. Wait, it's here in my pocket. Isn't that odd now? Yet, after all, why not? Why shouldn't I keep it?
I think you should leave the ring behind, Bilbo. Is that so hard?
Well, no. And yes. Now it comes to it. I don't feel like parting with it. It's mine. I found it. It came to me.
There's no need to get angry.
Well, if I'm angry, it's your fault. It's mine. My own. My precious.
Precious? It's been called that before, but not by you.
Oh, my business isn't of yours when I do with my own things.
I think you've had that ring quite long enough.
You want it for yourself!
Bilbo Baggins!
You know who you are. We just had this happen. You reacted like Bilbo. And I know you don't feel like you're binding to the ring. I know you don't feel like you're holding the ring. You're acting as a subsidiary of the ring. But it's real, man. It's real. So just consider taking off the ring.
Bagel.
So I had a friend point out to me that I should probably lay out a prediction in this, that either many bots or many angry people will swarm this video without considering the content of it and the meaning that I'm trying to communicate if I put this out into the world. If what I'm saying is true, I'm essentially calling the eye of Sauron upon me. I'm calling the Nazgul upon me if this video is swarmed with attention by beings who want to use their energy to support this particular person. If everything that I am saying in this video, if all of these theories are true, then they will not consider the logic of the argument. It will be reactive. It will not be proactive cognition. It will be reactive to the activations in their brain, which they do not understand because they are not consciously architecting the map of their connectome through conscious meditative ideation and reflexive journaling over time. They're reacting to the world, basically. They don't really have a good idea of their perception of reality over time. Elon seems to be having a very public meltdown right now. I think it's related to the fact that he's on Adderall. He's said publicly that Wellbutrin was dangerous and that Adderall was safe, and that seemed to imply that he was actively on Adderall. And considering his behavior since 2018, I think it may be possible that he was having trouble focusing at that time, and he sought out medication to be able to bring his companies into profit. I do not know whether there will be lots of bots that swarm me for posting this. I know that he's attacking a lot of people very, very directly. He's banning people on Twitter. And I think people are basically implying to me that I should be afraid for trying to speak the truth about what is going on. And that's very concerning. That if just publicly speaking the truth about what I see this man to be doing with his actions, whether it be consciously or subconsciously, it results in all of these individual beings using their own thermodynamic energy to directly attack me. It kind of directly reinforces the point. So I'm hoping that if anybody who is a defender of the man is watching this, that you actually watch the whole thing. And if you attack me, I'm going to point you to this part of the video and question why you didn't consume the whole thing, and question again, do you understand why you are doing what you are doing? Do you truly understand it? Because I view Elon as smarter than you. I really do. I think he's a lot smarter than almost everybody on the planet. I think he is the best optimizer. I think if you set him upon a goal, you provide him with data and resources to be able to do that, he optimizes towards that goal. But if the goal is not aligned with social good, or if the torus of activation in his mind is bound up in profit as well at the very foundation of his cognition, at the very root of his first principles, then what you're going to see is manifest in his behaviors the type of things that we are seeing. And so, of course, we are seeing the Trump thing happen again, because it's not that just you change the people by doing the thing, by wearing the ring and doing the magic. It changes you too over time. It changed both Trump and it is changing Elon, and they're very trapped in this loop, thermodynamic loop of action and drive and vision, and they just cannot stop. And they found a way to get others to support them in their capacity to continue blindly down this path. So I am asking you to pause, take a breath, and consider why you personally
would spend so much physical energy, thermodynamic energy. I'm not looking for you to create explanations for your behavior at a psychological level. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking you to consider your brain as if it is a thermodynamic soup that does not want to expend energy to rewire. Just think about that for a second. Thank you.